this conversation, most conversations, it's not you making a statement and me just reacting to that.
Right.
Like our conversation evolves based on what we say. We can interrupt one another. We can, we can completely change the subject. I can take control of the conversation, and the people who might find that interesting follow it, and the folks that don't just stop listening. Whereas you can't do that in a post-comment model.
Yeah, it's also, text is so limited. It's great for just getting out actual facts, but it's
also thinking. It's just so close to thinking. Like there's no composition.
Right.
And that to me is the most beautiful thing about Twitter, but also something that, can be uncomfortable. Like I can compose my life on Instagram. I can compose my thoughts within a Facebook post, and it can look so perfect. But the best of Twitter is just super raw, and it's right to the thinking process. And I just think that's so beautiful because it gets to consciousness. It gets to something deeper. And I think that deeper.
Well, how so? How is it different than a post on Instagram or a post on Facebook?
The speed demands, the character constraint, the speed kind of just demands a more conscious, present, focused thinking versus like stepping back and
composing a letter.
Yeah, and composing a letter and thinking about all the outcomes.
But oftentimes people do compose it as a letter, and they break it up into separate 280 character posts.
Yeah, the threads.
What was the thought process in going from 140 to 280? Because the one thing that I liked about 140 is that you can't be verbose. Yeah, you can't just ramble, and it's great for comics because it forces us to write jokes like with economy of words.
Exactly. We found a lot of resonance with journalists because of headlines. We found a lot of resonance with comics because of the rhythm, and we found a lot of resonance with hip hop as well because of the bars and just the structure and the constraint allowed that flow. The thinking was we looked at our languages around the world, and there's some languages like German, 140 characters, you can't really say much. Can't really say much at all.
Right, because the words are so long.
There are some languages like Japanese, 140 characters is 140 words. Oh. And what was interesting about Japan was Japan is one of our largest countries. We're bigger than Facebook there.
Are you not bigger than Facebook in America?
No.
What the fuck? I don't even use Facebook. Sorry, Facebook.
I don't either.
I mean, I use it in terms of if I post something on Instagram, it goes to Facebook. Yeah. But when I go to Facebook, it just seems like a lot of, well, this seems like Twitter too, a lot of arguing. But Twitter seems to be more fun, if that makes any sense. Even though there's a lot of chaos. One of my favorite things is when someone posts something stupid and then underneath it is a bunch of gifs. Do you say gifs or gifs? How do you say GIF? Does anybody know?
Ask him.
Gifs. How do you say it? Gifs. I say gifs.
Yeah.
The jury's out.
A bunch of gifs that are hilarious.
Yeah.
Like just mocking someone relentlessly. Like, I mean, that is one of my favorite things about Twitter. When someone, like if Donald Trump posts something ridiculous, and then I'll go and I'll look at the responses, I'm like, bah! Like, I don't even care.
It's a public conversation.
Yes.
You can see how everyone reacts. But like it's all, the interesting thing about Twitter is there's not one Twitter. It's like you have politics Twitter, which can be super toxic. You have sports Twitter, you have NBA Twitter, you have MMA Twitter, you have UFC Twitter, you have K-pop Twitter, you have
Black
esports Twitter, you have Black Twitter.
That's Jamie's. Jamie loves Black
you
Twitter.
Have all these different Twitters, and you have a completely different experience.
Yes.
Based on what Twitter you follow and what Twitter you participate in. Some of them are like super engaging, super funny. Some of them are you want to walk away from it.